To all the geeks and nerds out there, welcome back to another episode of Simply Minecraft. This is a series where each episode we take one aspect of the game and try and make it as simple as we can. And today, as you can see, I'm a bit of a ghost. And that is because, as behind me you can see, we have got some bouncy friends that we are going to work with today. That's right, today we are looking at a slime farm. Now, slime farms are generally quite easy, but there are two big things that make them a pain to build. And that is a lot of digging and also a lot of spawn proofing. But this farm means you have to do hardly any of that at all. So if you want to see how it works, then stick around. And here it is. Here is the slime farm in its entirety. Not much to it at all. Basically a big hole in the ground. And yeah, a little bit of a platform here. An iron golem up here. And as you can see, the slimes are coming in and they get attracted by this golem and they end up in this center inside some soul fire campfires. You can also use normal campfires. There's some hoppers underneath to collect the drops. And as you can see, we get quite a few slimes. And this is not too bad at all. There has been no spawn proofing done whatsoever here. And as you can see, the digging is pretty minimal, just this box here, which is actually not that big at all. So we need to talk about how slimes work, how they spawn, all that kind of stuff. We'll talk about that detail first of all, and then we'll get into a block by block tutorial with all the measurements, all the details you need to build this farm for yourself. And this slime farm will produce around 1,600 slime balls per hour. That's about 25 stacks. So I reckon for most single players, that is enough for any kind of project you're going to need. So let's not worry about digging too much or too much spawn proofing. This farm should keep you going for a little while. And so the first question is, where do slimes spawn? Well, they spawn in two places. The first place we're going to talk about is this, the swamp. So you can find slimes here in a swamp, but as you look around, we can see plenty of normal mobs, but not many slimes. They do normally spawn on top of the surface, so we should find some around here, but you can increase your chance of finding slimes depending on the night cycle. So if we look at the moon over there, you can see it's not a full moon. It's only partially a moon. So if you wait until you get a full moon and then go to the swamp, we should see some more slimes. So let me show you the different stages of the moon so you can see. So here we have this kind of crescent moon here. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to run a command that's going to advance us by 1 day. So this will show us what the moon will be like tomorrow. So if I add 1 day, you can see the moon changes to this. So there's hardly any moon there at all. And then we can add a day each time. And you can see the shape of the moon changes. And then eventually we will get a full moon. So I think one more will do it. There we go. That is a full moon. So now if we look at our land, hopefully we should see, there we go. There is a slime. So we should see some much more chance of slime spawning when it's a full moon. So if you do need a few slime balls to get you going, maybe for those first few sticky pistons, then find yourself a swamp, wait until it's a full moon, and then head on out. And you should be able to find some slime spawning. So that is the best place to do it early game. There's another one right there. So yeah, that is the first place. Now the other place that a slime spawn is underground, but you need to find a very special location for that. So that's what we're going to talk about next. It's now daytime and we're back at base, and it's time to look for the second place that these slimes spawn. They spawn in a place called a slime chunk. What is a slime chunk? Well, before we talk about that, let's talk about what a chunk is. So the Minecraft world is divided up into a grid of chunks, and each chunk is a 16 by 16 area, and they're all knitted together in a grid fashion. Now I can show you what that looks like. If you press F3 and G on your keyboard, then you get these lines come up, and these are the lines that separate the different chunks. So this is a chunk right here, and if I go next to it, you'll see here is a second chunk. Now a slime chunk is a chunk where slimes spawn, but only 10% of these chunks are slime chunks. So we need to find one of these chunks that is a slime chunk. Now that can be tricky depending on how you play the game. So there are a few ways to do that. So what I'm going to do now is go through those different options, and hopefully you'll be able to find yourself a slime chunk. The first way is to go caving and to look around for some slimes that spawn underground. Now you need to make sure you are at level 39 or below for slimes to spawn. They don't spawn any higher than that. So go down caving and see if you can find some slime spawning. And once you find some slime spawning, then that is a good indication that you're in a slime chunk or close to one. So you'll then have to maybe get your chunk boundaries up again with F3 and G, and then try and mark out some areas. Try and put some blocks down to kind of separate, and try and work out which chunks the slimes are spawning. So that's kind of the first way to do it. The second way is kind of similar to this, is to just start digging around, digging out a big area, and hopefully eventually you'll find a slime spawning. So that's one way. Now that can be a bit tedious and it can take quite a long time to do it. But the other way is to use some external tools to help you in your quest, and that is super easy. But you do need your world seed. So let me show you how to do that next. How do you get your world seed? Well, if you're playing on a server, you'll need to ask your admin to let you know what it is. Now, some servers don't always give it out, but if they do, just ask, and I'm sure your admin will pass it on. If you're playing in single player and you have commands enabled, you can run this simple command /seed, and that will tell you your seed right here. And if you click on this seed, it will copy it to your clipboard for use later on. Now, that's not always necessary if you don't have commands enabled. If you're in single player, then these tools that I'm going to show you will help you out with that anyway, which we'll get onto in a second. So let's look at the first tool, which will help you find your slime chunks. The first tool we're going to look at is Chunkbase. That is online. That is a website. Just go to chunkbase.com. There'll be a link in the description. And when you get here, click on apps. And if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see this slime chunk app right here. Click on that and you will see you're presented with this. So here you can paste in your seed right here, and that will update this map underneath. This will show all the chunks in your world and which ones are the slime chunks. Now, if you don't have your commands installed on your single player world, you can also drag your level.dat file. So go to your saves folder and grab the level.dat file from your world and drag it over here. That will read the seed and place it in there for you. And then what you need to do now is you can navigate this, you can drag this around, you can zoom in, zoom out, and you've got the coordinates along the top and along the side. And as you hover over all of these, you'll notice in the bottom left you can see all the coordinates as you hover. So this will help you find your slime chunks in your world. That is a super useful tool. There are two others I want to show you, so let's look at them next. The next tool to look at is a program called Amidst. This is something you'll have to download and install on your machine, but this is pretty good, and this is what I use most of the time, mainly because not only does it show you the chunks, so these pink squares here are the slime chunks, but also overlays the world map as well. Now, this is going to be important for this design, because we're going to try and find a slime chunk that's in the middle of an ocean. So in particular, we can use this chunk right here. It's because there's no land around it, so that's going to help us with our spawn proofing. We'll talk more about that in a second. So this is super useful. This is very similar in concept. So you can add your seed right here. So you paste your seed in, and that will give you a map that you can navigate. It not only shows you spawn chunks, it also shows you all of these things as well. So if you want to find villages or strongholds or witch huts, all that kind of stuff, you can find that using Amidst as well, all on this same map overlay. So that's really useful. Now, if you don't have your commands enabled, you can also open your game. So if you go to Open Save Game and navigate to your game, that will read the seed from there and give you the map as well. So this is super useful, super cool. There'll be a link in the description if you want to download it. Your third option is to install a mod into Minecraft, so you can use it inside the game to work out which chunks are slime chunks. So I like to use mini HUD, so I can press a hotkey and this gives me an overlay. So this is a customizable debug screen. You can choose what lines come on this, and you can see I've added the chunk, the slime chunk line. And as I move around, you can see that it says currently no, but if I move around a bit, eventually we'll get to, there we go. So this chunk we're in now is a slime chunk. And if we can show the, if we put F3 and G, so we can see this chunk I'm in right here. This is a slime chunk. If we go next to it, this one is not. So here's how we can tell nice and easily. Now, the other thing with mini HUD, if I turn those off, is it has overlays. So there's also another hotkey for that. So if I press this hotkey, all of these green squares here, these are all the slime chunks. So it's very easy to find out which chunks are slime chunks if you use a mod like mini HUD. So with that information and with those tools, once you've found a slime chunk, this is where you can build your farm. Now, as I said before, we're going to find a slime chunk that's inside an ocean. So let's head on over there and yeah, I'll show you how to build it. So here we are. This is the site of our farm. This is where we're going to build our slime farm. So here we are. We're inside this chunk right here. And let's just double check to make sure this is a slime chunk. So I'm going to turn on mini HUD and you can see slime chunk. Yes. So we are definitely inside a slime chunk. And as you can see, there is no land around us whatsoever. Now we'll talk about a bit more about spawn proofing and whatnot later on. But this is the main reason why we build it in an ocean, because there's no surface area here to light up or to spawn proof. You will get some drowned spawning in the ocean, but they don't spawn that often, and it won't impact the rates of the farm that much, so nothing to worry about on that front. So the next thing to do is to go down. You need to go down under the ocean and dig out an area. So what you need to do is you need to come down underneath the ocean, so dig underneath the ocean floor into an area here, and we're going to dig out levels 22 up to 28. So that will give you an area just here. Now make sure you just dig out inside this chunk. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to dig that out and then show you what it looks like. And here we are in our dugout area, and you can see that the chunk boundaries are right in line with all the walls right here. And you can see right in the corner, you kind of get this blue line. You might not be able to see it, but it kind of flickers. If I break these kind of blocks here we go. You can see this blue line here. That's the corner of the chunk. So yeah, you just need to dig out this whole chunk here. And just to make sure, if we check the levels, so if I place a block here, you can see if you look at it says looking at block in the top there, it says this is level 28. So you can dig out that block all the way down to this level, down to 22. So that's where you need to dig out. Now those, as I said, that debug screen there, this is mini HUD, so it's a bit cleaner, a bit easier to see what we're talking about. So this is the area you need to dig out, but in fact you've got to do a little bit more digging. So now you've dug out this area, the next area to dig out is another 2 blocks. So dig out 2 blocks in all directions, all the way around. Obviously when you've got gravel and stuff, you have to get rid of that, but yeah, dig out 2 blocks all the way around your slime chunk. So your slime chunk is in the center, and then there'll be an extra 2 blocks outside it. So dig all that out, and then we do the next part. And here it is. Here is the dugout area you need. That's all the digging you need to do. So that is a big job, but yeah, not too bad in the grand scheme of things. So your chunk should be in the center, and you should have 2 blocks on each side here and here. So 2 blocks there, and also on all sides. Just make sure that is the case. So this should be a 20 by 20 area, and then 7 high. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so 7 high, and yeah, 20 by 20 with your chunk in the center. Now the next thing to do is to do some building. So let me show you the material list. So here it is. Here is the material list. Now a lot of these blocks you can change out for other things. So we just need any slab here for these ones, 169 slabs. So that's almost 3 stacks of slabs. Then you need some ladders, any solid block, some torches, a hopper. You can use sulfide campfires, or you can use the normal campfires. The soul campfires just kill the mobs a bit quicker. You need some glass, so some non-spawnable blocks. You have any trapdoors. That is fine, and then some chests, and then you need 4 blocks of iron and a carved pumpkin. That's to summon your iron golem, and then any stair will do. So that's the material list that you need. There'll be a list. All of this list will be in the description as well. So once you've gathered that together, we can get on with the build. The first thing we're going to do is to build our platforms. That gives us an extra spawning area. So what we do now is come over to the corner of your chunk and build up 4 blocks just like that. These are temporary blocks, and then get a slab and place that on the top half of that, and then you can get rid of your temporary blocks. And now we need to build this platform all the way around. So this should be 3 blocks in width. So build a 3 wide platform all the way around on all 4 sides, and that of course should line up with your chunk boundary just here. So do that all the way around, and then we do the next part. And here it is. Here is the extra spawning platform. So our slimes can spawn on top of this. They can also spawn down here as well. That just gives us some extra spaces for slimes to spawn. Now the reason that we've cut out this area around here is because if a slime tries to spawn on this block right on the edge of the spawn, right on the edge of the slime chunk, if there's a solid block here and it's a bigger slime, its hitbox will intersect with the wall, and that will cancel the spawn. So we dig up these blocks around it all the way around to make sure that we give the slimes maximum spaces to spawn. So this is any of these blocks here on the edge, and of course always also down here as well. So that just maximizes the number of spawning spaces that there are in this small area. So that's why we do that. Now once we've got this platform here in the right place and all placed down, the next thing to do is to dig out the area in the center, and that is where we're going to be killing our mobs. So this is a 4x4 area, so dig all of that out, and you should find that this is 6 blocks away from your chunk boundary. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So count out those blocks all the way around and dig this out, and this needs to be dug out so it's 3 deep. So dig down 3 deep, and it should be a 4x4 area. Next up, let's place some torches down. So what we're going to do here is on this top level here, place a torch on each of the 4 corners all the way around, just like that on all 4 sides, and also place a torch on the center. Now this is an even number of blocks, so there isn't a central block, but either of the 2 center blocks. So come along here, you can kind of line it up, and yes, yeah, either of those 2 is fine. Do that on all 4 sides. Come underneath and do the same thing. So one in the corner where your slime chunk is on all 4 sides, and again one of the central blocks just here in the center there, and then place a torch on all of the 4 corners around the hole we dug in the center. Do that all the way around so it's all nice and even. Now the reason we do that is that we don't want any other mobs spawning in here, and the light level doesn't affect slime, so that just makes sure only slimes can spawn in our area. The next job is to get the iron golem into place. So what you need to do now is come over to your platform and place down 6 temporary blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure that's in the middle. Hopefully that should line up with one of your torches, and then get yourself 2 trapdoors and place them on these 2 blocks right here. So those 2 blocks there should line up with the center of this of the hole you dug out underneath. Then you can place 2 more trapdoors next to those 2, and you can get rid of these temporary blocks here. We'll keep these ones here for the time being. That will come in useful in a second. And then on the ceiling just above here, we want to place some more trapdoors. So they need to be, if we stand it on one corner here, they need to be diagonally like this. So that corner there should line up with that corner there. So hopefully that's easy to see. If I stand here, you can see that the edge of those trapdoors there line up with that one there. So this is on the outside, that's on the inside. Do the same on this corner as well. So you can stand on this one here, and then as you look up here, it should be these 2 like that. So again, if I stand here, you can see the edge of those trapdoors there line up with the inside of that one, and likewise just on this side as well. So that is to keep the iron golem into place. So when the iron golem is standing here, he won't be able to move around. These trapdoors will keep him on this platform. Now the tricky bit is, let's get the iron golem in. So what we're going to do is we're going to spawn him over here on these trapdoors, on these temporary blocks here. So you can make a T shape with your iron blocks just like that. Now before we place the carved pumpkin down, we probably actually want to remove this trapdoor right here, but keep it on your hotbar ready because we can push the iron golem into place. So place the carved pumpkin on top and give him a little nudge. He might walk over and bite on his own accord just like that, and then place the trapdoor back in place, and now he is locked in there. He can't get away, and then we can get rid of all those temporary blocks. All right, that is really cool. Okay, so the next thing to do is to work on the item collection, which is just underneath the iron golem. The next thing to do is to jump into the hole that we dug out, take one corner and take away 2 blocks just like that. Then dig out a little corridor this way. This is going to lead all the way outside of our farm. So we need to dig far enough past the spawn chunk, and then we're going to end up digging up, and that will eventually take us to the ocean, and then we can swim out. So this is going to be our collection area for our drops. So over here, if we come back, if you leave 1 block here and then start placing down some double chests just here. So we might need to dig out a few blocks just to give you some space, but probably 3 double chests on top of each other should be enough. So you can just do that by placing them just like that, and yeah, take away some blocks to give you some space just like that, and then you can place these put these blocks back on the top. You need to leave some space above just to make sure that you can open this top chest just like that. Now get yourself your hoppers and lay your hoppers into the 3 chests just like that, and then make sure you've got a layer of hoppers that fill this hole now and all run into each other, so all the drops from all the hoppers will end up going into all your chests in the corner. Next up, place your campfires on top of all of the hoppers. Now we want to make sure that you've got a way to get out of here, so you know, maybe leave a block here that you can jump up to get out of. So that is that. And the last thing we need to do down here is you'll notice that in here, in amongst the smoke, there is a potential area here for your mob drops, your slime balls to fall into here and not go into a hopper. So the way to deal with that is to get your stair, and if you come around this way and you place your stair, you might need to dig out a couple of blocks, but place your stair this way. So on this side it's the solid face that will stop any drops, but so you can still open your chest just like that, no problem. And then put your blocks back here so it won't interfere with the slime spawning. Okay, so that is pretty much it. That is pretty much what we've got to do. So once you've dug your tunnel all the way out and you've got a way out into the ocean, the next thing to do is to get your AFK spot in the right place, and then your farm will be operational. Here we are on the other side of our storage, and as you can see, we've got some slime balls coming in already. That is pretty good going. Now, if you want to have some more storage, obviously you can add some more chests underneath. Just make sure you've got some hoppers on the back to link it all up. And this corridor here I've extended. I've made it 3 high just to make it nice and easy to get in here, and added some torches to make sure we don't get any mobs spawning here and surprising us. Now this corridor just needs to go far enough so it's outside of the farm, and then you dig all the way up so we can get out into the ocean and it doesn't interfere with our farm at all. So I've come over here. You can see that our farm area here, our area that we've dug out, kind of stops there, and this tunnel doesn't matter where it stops, can come out anywhere, but just yeah, make sure it comes out and doesn't interfere with the farm itself. So dig that up, and then what I've done here is as well, I've also added in the same place as well, just outside the farm, away from it, and not above it, definitely not above it. That's not a good idea. But if you dig, if you come out here and add a whole bunch of blocks here that go all the way up to the AFK spot, which we'll talk about in a second, and add some ladders. Now that's only needed if you don't have an elytra. Of course you can fly up to the AFK spot, but this is pretty good just to get out there nice and easily. So let's get up and talk about the AFK spot. And here it is. Here is the AFK spot. This is where you need to stand. So you need to stand on these blocks right here. So anywhere there will give you a good location. So where exactly is this? Well, if you've dug out your hole in the same place that I did, then this is at Y146. So let me show you that. If I get up mini HUD, you can see it says looking at, and this is at 146. Now the important place about this is that this is 2 blocks away from your slime chunk. So if we come over here, if I turn on my slime chunk boundaries again with F3 and G, you can see I'm here, and this platform is 2 blocks away, just like that, from the slime chunk. So if we were to go down there, that will be our slime chunk where all the slimes are spawning. So yeah, and this is also in the center. So if we were to count over here, you'd end up with 7 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can see that is the corner of the chunk. So just make sure that this platform is in the center of your chunk here, and it's 2 blocks away. So remove those 2, and you need to stand in this area right here. And these, just to reiterate, these blocks are placed at level 146. Now above that, we've got some blocks here. This is to protect you from phantoms from spawning, so you can stand here. Of course, you can box all this in, make yourself nice and safe, but you just need some blocks above you, so you don't get bothered by ghasts, not by ghasts, by phantoms when you're over here. So we can come over here, and if we just go straight down, in fact, if I go into spectator mode, we can zoom down here. You'll see, just to make sure, this is the chunk where we've got our slime farm, and there we go. There is our iron golem ready to do business, and that is it. That is the farm. So if I was to come up here and stand in this AFK spot, I'm going to show you one more thing. So let's get rid of our slime chunk boundaries, or our chunk boundaries, should I say. And if I go back into creative, just like this, if I stand myself here, I've also got another hotkey I can press, which is this one. We've got the spawning sphere. So we've talked about this on previous episodes. This is a sphere around the player where mobs will spawn, and this has a radius of 128 blocks. Now the reason we're standing up here is it minimizes the amount of caves that are going to be loaded underneath the sea. So if we hop down here, you can see here that this is the reason why we've built it in an ocean. So there are no blocks up here where mobs can spawn. So there's no special spawn proofing needs to be done here. And as I said, you will get the odd drowned spawning inside the ocean, but you don't get too many. So it doesn't really affect the rates of the farm at all. Now if we come down here, and if I pop back into spectator mode, if we come down here, we can see where this sphere cuts down. So you can see it comes down here, hardly loading any of the surrounding area at all. And in fact, it's just our farm inside this area that is inside that sphere. So you can see we've got this little area here, but this has got lava in it, so that's not going to spawn any mobs. There is a cave over here that's got water in it, so that won't spawn any mobs. Now, if you want to be ultra safe about things, have a look around. In fact, here we have a little cave that's got some mobs in it, so that will affect the rates a little bit, but not too much, because this won't get to fill the mob cap, so you won't really have that many problems. But have a look around, see if there's any caves, and light them up if there are any. But because we've got the AFK spot where it is, and where this farm is where this is, you shouldn't have too many caves in here, hopefully. If you could pick a spot with no caves, that means you won't have to do any kind of lighting up at all. But yeah, what you need to do is light up for optimal performance, light up the caves that are inside this area just around your farm. But as you can see, it's not too big. That's the reason why we've got the high AFK spot. So yeah, all you need to do now is stand up there on the glass on the AFK platform, and then just wait for the slime balls to come in, and you should get about 25 stacks per hour if you built it like I have right here. Here we have my assistant, Logical Geekbot. He is standing on the AFK spot, so hopefully we should be getting some spawns now. So if I come down here, I'm in spectator mode, so I shouldn't interfere with anything, and hopefully we'll see some. There we go. There are some slime spawning right there. Now, of course, this farm is not optimized for getting lots and lots of drops and lots of spawns, but as you can see there we go. They spawn on the platform and also on the floor. They get attracted by the golem in the center, and then they hop into into the fire underneath. They will obviously die because of the fire, and their drops get sucked up into the hoppers. The fire there doesn't destroy the items, and the hoppers can suck it through. So there you go. We get quite a good supply of slimes that spawn, and yeah, you'll get some pretty good rates. So 25 stacks per hour of the slime balls. Now you do get the odd slime ball that ends up falling over here. That's because you get a small slime that jumps from the top there and falls down and then dies. So that you get a little bit of a loss, but I think in this farm, for the aims that we have, I think that's pretty good. So if you kind of bear in mind how much digging you've got to do, we haven't dug out a whole chunk from bedrock all the way up to the top, and we haven't had to spawn proof hundreds of caves that are all the way around. So minimal spawn proofing and minimal digging, and your drops out of this should be good enough for most single players for the kind of projects you'll be doing on a small scale. So there we go. This farm is working pretty well, and I'm really happy how that turned out. So I'm back again. Ghost Logic is here because I'm in spectator mode. And yeah, this is the end of the episode. So I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, then please hit the like button. And if you're new, then feel free to subscribe. And if you've got any comments or suggestions, then get in that comment section. All right, my geeks, until next time, I will see you later.